Welcome to Marriage Without Tears channel. If you're a man in marriage or a woman in marriage out there, please, this is your channel. I want you to listen to the topic we have today. Many times men do a whole lot of damage to their marriage without actually knowing it. A young man walked to my office the other time and he said, "Sir, please, I need help. What can you do to help me? My wife just woke up this morning and said she's tired of the marriage, and I simply don't know where I have erred. I have sacrificed and I've given, I've done a whole lot in the marriage, and it appears as if whatever I'm doing does not mean anything to her anymore. I don't understand. She doesn't appreciate me. What do I do? Where have I erred?" And I invited the wife eventually, and when she came in, she said, did he actually say he doesn't know what he has done or what he's presently doing? And maybe he should go and meditate about it. Then somewhere along the line he will realize his errors. But as for me, I want to get out of it. By the grace of God, we sat down and we began to look at so many things that was going in that union. And that is what gave rise to the topic that I have today. 12 things that husbands do that can destroy their marriage. 12 things that husbands do that can destroy their marriage. If you are a husband, I want you to listen attentively to this topic. You may learn one or two things that you are doing knowingly or unknowingly that is causing a whole lot of damage in your own marriage. And if you're a woman out there, possibly some of the things your husband is doing is mounting pressure on you, and you are almost about throwing in the towel. This is an opportunity for you to learn what is actually happening, and maybe you can help him to make the required amendments. So please, I want us to listen to this very particular edition. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so immediately. There's a red button by my side. Click on it and get subscribed. Become part of this awesome channel. This is a channel where people who want to make a difference in their marriage get hooked to, and they begin to learn the nitty-gritty, the ingredients, what makes a good marriage work. This is where you learn them. So click on this channel, click on this red button and get subscribed to my channel. The very first thing I want to talk about, I'll give you 12. The very first thing I want to talk about is when a man is not expressive enough. When at any point in time you find some errors or some areas of default or some areas of annoyance and you don't express it, you keep it bottled on the inside, and you walk away with that emotion unchallenged. You don't seem to open up to your wife to say, these are the things that is making me angry, that is making me angry. These are things that you are doing that I don't actually like. Please, can you see how we can mend so area? If you can't say that and you bottle it up on the inside, it becomes like a raindrop. Anytime a raindrop is dropping at a particular place, the rain is dropping, you discover that after a period of time, it will dig a mighty hole. That is what happens to such a relationship. So be expressive enough in your relationship. Be able to tell your wife what you like, what you don't like, what needs to be amended, what needs to be upgraded. It's very, very important in a union. Many men don't do that, and it is a serious problem in marriage. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about, when a man does not give his wife quality time, it can spell a doom to that relationship. I know of so many men, immediately after the wedding, every other thing takes their priority. Their business, their career, their friends, their place in the church, their place in the society. It takes precedence over their spouses. They no longer pay much attention to the woman in the house. And before you realize it, the woman is all messed up. She doesn't know where else to go. There is a video I watched some time ago about the wife of former American President Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. She said at a particular point in time she was actually about giving up on her marriage, simply because when her husband got involved in politics, he was always every other place except in her arms. He goes from state to state, talking from one community to the other, talking from one career group to the other. But over months, the man is never at home. And she felt like, no, I can't take it anymore. It's like I should look for succor somewhere else. So what am I saying really? If a man does not give his wife quality time, it can spell doom to the relationship. Please, no matter whatever you are involved in, Is it your career? Is it your business? Make out time. Create time for your spouse. Create time for both of you to sit back, either at the end of the day's work or possibly over the weekend. Possibly turn up the whole Saturday. Let the whole Saturday be spent together with one another, talking about issues that matter to both of you, laughing together, expressing your visions and dreams together. That is what makes marriage viable. If you can't do that, then you are putting a serious pressure on your marriage. Very, very important. The third thing that men do is once in a while they can get involved in extramarital affairs. When you see a man look outside of the home and begin to find solace in the arms of another woman, that is a sure death knell on their marriage relationship. As a matter of fact, even if the man doesn't go that deep far, if the man is only, he's walking around with his wife and suddenly he sees a beautiful woman and he turns his neck and begin to look at the woman, begin to appreciate the woman more than necessary, I can tell you that the woman, the wife, will feel offended. It is the same way vice versa. So, not to talk of taking it a step further by getting involved in a relationship. A whole lot of men do that. And before you know it, once that happens, what happens is a betrayal of trust, because no marriage can work in the absence of trust. When trust is betrayed in that way, it becomes very difficult for that trust to be retrieved. That is what happens. So extramarital affairs can damage the best of relationships. Very, very important. Then, of course, the fourth thing that men do that can damage relationship is they make the sexual aspect of the relationship very humdrum. It's like he's tired. He doesn't want to engage in it anymore. The woman is on fire. She's full of life. She wants to engage her husband like they used to. But the husband is no longer there for her. He's so consumed in his business, he's so consumed in his profession, he's so consumed in any other thing except the arms of his wife. If that happens, that marriage is under threat. And I know a whole lot of men who do that. And there are also solutions to it, which if you come to our office, or maybe you continue listening to some of the videos we are going to drop, you are going to find solutions to some of the things we are mentioning here. But sexlessness in marriage can damage a relationship, because sex is about mutual bonding. Sex is about heart bonding with heart, body bonding with body. And if at any point in time is no longer that way, I can tell you that that relationship will be under threat. So as a man out there, a whole lot of things is hooked onto sex, really. I have seen situations whereby some women, when they try as much as possible to get the attention of their man and the man is not there for them, you find these same women, instead of walking out of the marriage, they go outside and get a boyfriend. It happens every now and then, and it's simply because the man was not there to meet the occasion, to meet the challenge of the situation. So that is a problem. That is a big problem in marriage. So please work at that if you are a man. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so immediately. There's a red button by my side. Click on it and get subscribed and be part of this channel. It's very, very important. Of course, let me give you number 5. Number 5, some men are very domineering, very controlling. To them, their home and their spouse and everything, everybody is answerable to, is just at the, so domineering. The woman has no voice of her own. She cannot make a suggestion that can be taken. Whatever she says as an opinion is taken for granted. It's not taken seriously. So in that case, the man is the alpha and the omega of the home, and the woman feels betrayed. She feels dropped off. She feels irrelevant. If you do that to your wife, then you have lost an essential part of a relationship. Because what you don't have, your spouse may have it. And what your spouse doesn't have, you may have it. It is two coming together that brings out a greater result. That is what is marriage. But when you become the domineering type, let's face it, women love people who can take charge. But when you take charge to the level where you no longer allow her own opinion to stand, then she feels irrelevant, and then your marriage becomes under threat. So I want you as a man, even when you have a better opinion, find a very loving and compassionate way to convey your opinion to her, so that she doesn't feel enforced, prodded into adapting to your own opinion, whether she likes it or not. No, don't take her to that level. If you do that, you'll be damaging the very essence of your relationship, when you become very domineering and very controlling. The sick thing that most men do that endanger their relationship is when they fail to take responsibility where they should. A whole lot of men do not take responsibility, either for their actions or for certain assignments or duties that they ought to do. I have seen men leave the entire upbringing of the children to the spouse. I have seen men leave everything about fees and all that to the spouse. I have seen men give all manner of excuses, and instead of stepping into their role, they step aside, especially when it appears to them as if their wife is earning a bigger income. Some of them do push these roles to the woman. It ought not to be so. I have seen men who don't rise up to the occasion of becoming the father and the husband of the home. I have seen men do that. And when you do that, you lose respect, not only on the side of your wife, but even on the side of your children, because these kids are growing up. They are seeing that the de facto in that house is their mom. They are seeing that the one who brings out the school fees, who feeds them, who clothes them, who does everything is their mom. And in doing that, you gradually lose respect as a man. I see men do that all the time, not taking responsibility, not standing out. I have seen men, somehow they are not even the one that decides where their wife or their children worship. Some in such homes you discover that the woman worships at a different church, the children worships at different churches. Everything is in a confused state. So a man needs to step out and take responsibility for the spiritual destiny of the home, for the emotional destiny of the home, and for every other thing around the home. You have to step out and take responsibility. That is what a man does. But most men don't do that, and it can spell doom to your marriage. The seventh one I want to mention, most men don't know how to manage families and friends, especially their extended families. You got married, you are supposed to stick with your wife, you are supposed to make decisions with your wife, but you are still bringing your father and your mother and your siblings into the decision making process. That is a death knell to your marriage. Many men do that. I know, of course, that your parents spent a lot of money to train you. I know, of course, that your siblings were always there for you. But now that you are starting a totally different form of relationship, a marital relationship, you should strike out on your own and begin to build a formidable home with your spouse. But most men, a whole lot of men don't do that. They still seek the counsel of their father, the counsel of mom, the counsel of elder brother, the counsel of younger brother, the counsel of friends, instead of seeking the counsel of their wives. And as a matter of fact, some of them prefer the counsel of all these people more than the counsel of their spouse. And that is detrimental to your marriage. Men do that all the time. That is number 7 I want to point out. If you're a man and you are doing that, you are gradually digging the grave where your marriage will be buried. And I want you, please, take note of that. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so immediately. Look at this red button, click on it and get subscribed and be part of this channel. My number 8 I want to talk about really is about jealousy and possessiveness. There are a whole lot of men that are filled with all manner of jealousy and who are very possessive in their relationship. You have a wife, you should trust her to be in the company of other people without being vulnerable. Many men, immediately they find their wives in the company of other men, they become jittery, they become afraid. It's like that woman may see something in those people that she will admire more than them themselves, the husband. I have seen it happen several times. I have seen men make decisions based on jealousy, based on being over possessive of their spouses. I have seen that happen several times. A woman gains admission to go for further studies, but you are afraid that once she gets to school, she will meet other people that are better than you. Therefore, you deny her the opportunity of advancing her education. I have seen that happen. I've seen men, because their spouses their spouses rose to a certain level in their professional life, they become jittery. They are no longer secured. It happens every now and then, and that is very, very terrible. I've seen men make decisions based on being over possessive of their spouses. You should allow your wife to have her freedom to make some certain choices, to relate with some certain friends, and still have the joy of being in partnership and in a union with you. That is what a nobleman does. You don't become possessive, you don't become jealous because you find your wife mingling with other people. No, men do that all the time, and that is detrimental to marriage. Very, very detrimental to marriage. Number 9, every woman has a certain area of insecurity. As a man, you must be very, very wise enough to understand the areas where your wife feels insecure, and then you will be able to encourage her or motivate her so that that area does not hinder her from achieving what she ought to achieve as a woman. Most women have areas of insecurity, but when you are not empathetic, when you don't care about how she feels, when you don't care about her areas of insecurity, when you don't care about how to make her become better or how to make her grow out of her insecurity, she will resent you for that. She will become angry on the inside. She will feel a sense of loss. She will feel, there will be this conflict inside of her. It's like you don't really care about her. It's like the love you have for her is not deep enough. These are the things that hinder marriage. So be empathic enough, be able to look at your wife and be able to see areas of her, her deficiency, areas of her insecurity, and be able to do one or two things to ameliorate that area. That is the only way you can get a balance. That's the only way you can get a balanced spouse that is able to work with you fully. Very, very important indeed. I want you to note that as a man. Number 10, and which is equally very relevant, is unwholesome habits. There are habits that endanger your life and ultimately endanger your relationship. Habits like alcoholism, smoking, drug addiction. These are habits. Even gambling. These are habits, unwholesome habits that is capable of endangering your life as well as that of the union. Many men are involved in some of these things, and over a long period of time, it causes a serious damage in the relationship they have with their spouses. These are things many men do. I know that men are more involved in gambling than women. Men are also involved in some of these smoking and alcoholism more than women. And many men do these things, and it can cause terrible damage to your relationship. Because when you are involved in all these things, it can take you down to the next one I want to talk about, which is number 11, physical abuse, violence. When you are a drunkard, naturally you go into violence. Any slightest altercation, any slightest conflict, it results into violence. Wife beating and the rest of them. These are actions that are detrimental to marriage. And if as a man you must hold yourself accountable, you must be able to rise above some of these things, so that at the end of the day you will be able to stand on your own. You will be able to stand firm as a man and be a man that is actually in charge of your home. Drinking, alcoholism, drug addiction and things like that, these are detrimental to marriage. I want to go into point number 12. And before I do that, I want to remind us once again, if you are not yet a part of this channel, please subscribe to this channel and really be a part of it. And point number 12 simply is dishonesty. dishonesty. I know men who are dishonest to the core. You can't hold their words. And the real man is a man whom you can hold his words, whom you can take his words to the bank. That's the real man. But when you are one that when you speak, when you say good morning, people have to check the weather to know whether it is morning, then you have lost a very essence, a very special part of being a man. So dishonesty, many men are dishonest. And if as a husband you are still dishonest to your wife in your financial dealings, in your business dealings, in your emotional dealings, in all manner of things, your wife cannot just say this is where my husband stand, then you are laying a very, very particular terrible course on your marriage. I thank you for giving out time really to watch this very particular edition, and I look forward to having you next week, when we are also going to look at some of the things women do that endanger their marriage. Once again, I appreciate you and I thank you. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Happy, wonderful week ahead.